This is Live with the Zone. Today we're going to be talking about phishing attempts. Live with the Zone is a series of talks between you and the experts about technology here at Boise State. And we do these throughout the semesters. And today we're going to have Peter Juhrs from customer care talk about phishing attempts, how to avoid them, what they are, and kind of give us a high-level overview. Yep. So Peter, take it away.
So today we're going to talk about phishing real quick, just so you know who I am. I'm Peter Juhrs again. Thanks for the nice introduction, Jeff. And I work as the desktop support manager here for customer care. So I manage the group of people that come out and fix your computers when they're broken for a good chunk of campus. I also act as the Google Apps administrator for campus, so I do have my finger on the pulse of what's going on here with phishing. So today, we really want to take a minute and we're going to talk about what phishing is, some of the things that they're trying to do with it, and then how to take a minute to protect yourself from being phished. So first, what is phishing? Phishing and spam are somewhat the same, but they're not exactly linked. Phishing is a message that's unsolicited, so you didn't ask for the message to be sent to you. So it fits the spam category, but it's actually specifically trying to get something out of you in addition to the message that's just trying to buy you, whatever herbal enhancement of the day they're trying to sell. So what are they trying to get? They're trying to get information like passwords, your financial information, so they want to get into your online banking and steal your money. They want to get into the university's online banking and steal the university's money. And then another one, they want to deliver some malware to your computer. They want to take some time, get you to click on a link, at which point your computer becomes infected, and all of a sudden becomes something that they can leverage to do whatever nefarious things they would like to do with that. Could be as benign as just trying to map the internet. There's research that they did recently that he's kind of in trouble for, but most of the time they're trying to continue to leverage your computer to steal information. Again, they could use the malicious software to track your online banking, get into your accounts, and do some of those things. Another form of phishing, phishing itself can be a very widespread, so they send a really generic email to a whole bunch of people in the world. And those kind of stand out typically because you're going to see grammar errors, the phrasing's a bit odd, because usually English isn't their first language when they're writing these. But there is another form called spear phishing, which is a very specifically targeted attack. A good example here at the university is they might look at targeting Dr. Custra, Coach Pete. They might look up who the registrar is and target Chris Collins and do some of those things to get to the particular kind of information they're looking for. It could be the student record data, it could be that, and they're looking at that point to take the information that we've got, because we have some of the personally identifiable information, examples be social security number, address, phone number, some of those things that I hope identify who you are, and take those out of our system so they can leverage those to do maybe identity theft or some of those other things. So that's, spear phishing is the targeted attack, and those messages are usually very well written, look really legitimate, and you have to stop and think before you do anything with those. Is that something your organization, because that's what they're going to probably trick you in, somebody like the help desk here sent you this message and would like you to go take some action. Is that something we would really do? So we want to talk real quick about the different ways you could get phished. There's a couple different ways. First, and probably the largest still currently, is email. Emails, they send out, they're free, they're cheap. You can send out millions and millions of them every second. But there are other ways. You could set up a legitimate website that looks like Bank of America or something that tries to trick you when you type Bank of America and you miss an A in bank. For example, when you do a typo, you might get to a site that's trying to collect your username and password information off of that. So that's another way that you can get tricked into that. So you need to be careful when you go to websites. And one that, since we're talking technology here, we don't really think about, but there's the traditional call you on the phone and try and get money out of you somehow. Think of the gramophone calls that you get. That still fits as that phishing technique. You're looking to solicit them to give you information so you can steal their data. So that's the other part of it. I did get one graph here to show how phishing has increased over the years. So we go back to 2007, 2008, when we started to move to Google Apps in this time frame. And we look at 2012 here with the data from Google. That's about mid-year that they did this report last year. And you see a strong climb in the number of phishing sites out there and phishing attempts. Everything's on the rise. One piece of data that I got this morning from our security analyst is the government says that spear phishing attacks, those target attacks, are increasing dramatically against organizations such as ours, and that's out of a government report that just came out. So this is definitely a big deal to be aware of. So what do? Still, some of the most prominent ways is the email, the link that you get. So they're going to email you something that says, hey, click here to go do this. You don't want to click here. Generally in email, clicking on a link is a bad thing. We do it a lot, we all do it to each other, but they know it's part of the culture that we live in and how we try and interact with each other on legitimate emails. So the bad guys are trying to use it on the bad emails. So the issue there is being careful and making sure that you trust the source, you trust the email, and thinking about it before you click. And really, if you want to go do what the email's talking about, go to that website directly. Just open a new page or a new tab in your web browser, a new window, and just type in the address to go to my.Boise State instead of click on the link to go to my.Boise State. That way you're guaranteed you got to the right thing instead of them hiding someplace off that they go to a mistyped URL that looks really close and tricks you into thinking that you're actually going to a legitimate website. Another one is keep your computer up to date. Here at the university, we actually spend a lot of time working on that. We work on patching all the Windows computers we manage. We get the Windows updates out there. We work on patching the Macs. But there's still software that escapes the amount of time that we have to keep up with the stuff. So there's some plugins and other stuff that go in your browsers to make things like this presentation work that add additional features. And those quickly have become the attack vector of choice for these bad guys. So one way to check on that is Mozilla's put out a plugin check. That's a website that I'd recommend to go at home in addition to your computer at work and see what's out of date. And then take the actions to remediate those issues there. And as always, the help desk is here to help assist you here with your computer at home or with your computer at the university. And another one that's always important is looking for the S in that URL. So you go to a web page, there's always this funny thing in front, the HTTP and then a ://. When it's HTTPS, that means this site is secure. So the communication between you and the server is encrypted, and no one in the middle can intercept or know what you guys are sharing information back and forth. So if you are going to your online bank and doing that, you want to make sure that the S is there. That way, the data that you're sharing back and forth, your username, password, your account data, you're signing up for things, are not leaking out on the internet in a way that anybody can read them. With that, we want to say that, as always, the help desk is here to help you, and we have lots of ways to get a hold of us. We have email, and so you can send us a link and see if we click on it. But you can always give us a call. The help desk during the semester is open 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. So if you have a question about your computer at home, we're here to help you and trying to help you understand what you might need to do to make sure that your computer is secure. And in addition to that, we do have chat support that's available by going to the address here. So with that, kind of knocked through my stuff. What questions do you guys have? Yes?
What should I do if I accidentally click on a link because I'm reading an email too quickly and I realize that it's a phishing attempt and maybe it's just spam, or maybe I think that it's installing some malware or something? What should I do at the university?
So on a university device, my recommendation is go ahead and first thing to do is call the help desk. Say this is what happened. There's no harm. Everybody's done something like that. Clicked on a link they didn't need to. found a web page, and we're here to check it out, make sure that nothing bad has happened to your computer, and try and take any actions that we might need to remediate anything bad that did happen to your computer for those. So that's what we're here for, and just call us. We're glad to help. And then the part to look at is then afterwards, what made you think about that is probably the thing to add on afterwards. What, maybe you were in a hurry and you didn't think about it, but maybe what were the things that later identify that as a phishing attempt email or something that stood out as something I shouldn't have clicked on. And then over time, you'll train yourself to identify those more quickly.
Is there anything we can do to flag that so other people don't click on that phishing attempt?
If you do get one in your Google Apps account or in a lot of the online email clients, they do have a way to mark that as phishing. And when you have an email open, there's a little down arrow in the top right. One of the options is report phishing, and you would want to click on that link. And that one's actually different than the button at the top that says mark as spam. And the mechanism because of that, it puts it through a different process on the Google backend for them to look at it and help identify that. And that helps them react more quickly because realizing Google's got millions upon millions of users here, the more reports they get, the more quickly they start preventing those from getting to your mailbox.
Peter, I've got 2 questions for you. The first one is a little bit of a story. Not too long ago, my father received a phone call where the person on the other end actually had a strong accent and said that he was from online support and called he called my father by name and said, "We've noticed that your computer has a virus on that. Our server had picked this up." And he wanted to walk through removing that virus from his computer. How can somebody tell if that's legitimate or somebody is actually trying to get information from him?
So I would say that anything that you get a cold call on is bad. So the general method is, somebody calling you to solicit you for a donation and you're not familiar with your organization, you weren't expecting that phone call. This falls in that bucket of something that you want to be very wary of and hang up and call your internet service provider, see if they have any information on that, and you start the connection to them from a source or avenue that you know. So don't take the phone number from the guy that says, well, where should I call you back at? And call that number because you're going to get back to the same guy that's going to try and do the same thing for you. You want to call, CenturyLink, Cable One, whoever your internet service provider is directly from the phone number on their website or from the phone book, kind of thing. And that's the way to stop that from happening. And what they really want to do is scan your computer, put their little tool on there, which is their backdoor to start owning their computer. And that's kind of a malicious way of doing that and really underhanded and not nice.
The other question I have is, my bank asked me to pick out a picture when I logged in, and they said it was to prevent phishing. How in the world does a picture prevent phishing attacks?
So this one is, in my opinion, mediocre at best. My bank asked me for a word that was unique to us to put on there, and they would show that to you. So what they're trying to do is that in theory, only they know the word, and because only they know the word, when you go to log into the website, you can verify you're at the right website because only they should be able to show you the word or the picture. And that's the method. So if you were going off to some other third-party website to do that, and that looked like Bank of America,
so
or
it's kind of like that typo thing you were talking about.
Yes, that type of one.
Okay.
You got to the wrong website, that they wouldn't have the picture on there. You would then be able to verify that, I'm not at the right place, and that's your visual indicator real quickly to do that. The issue with that is sometimes they put them, the way they present them is easy for those malicious websites to scrape off and put on their website. So it's not foolproof, and it does depend somewhat on the bank's implementation and when they present that.